Stretching does not work. In this video, I'm going to make the argument for why that is, and what I'd like you to do is to put in the comments section why you think I'm wrong. My name is Dr. Story. I've been a chiropractor for over 23 years. I'm going to give you realistic advice based on my experience. Not a week goes by that patients come in and they say, oh, I've been stretching my hamstring for years and I still can't touch my toes. Or people have an injury to their spine and they keep stretching their spine and it just doesn't seem to help them. And then we do various treatments on them and we teach them about things I'm going to teach with you, and their pain goes away. Why is that? Why does stretching not work? Well, first of all, let's cut to the chase. The reality is there is no research to support that stretching prevents injuries. Now, one of the best examples of this are runners. And runners get a lot of injuries. They get them in their calves, they get them in their feet, their knees, their hips, their back. And so what a great group to study are runners, particularly middle-aged runners, because it seems like they're always injured. So if you take a bunch of people like that and you give them stretching exercises, the question is there any research to support that passive stretching will prevent injuries? The answer is no. There's no research to support that. Yet for the last 50 years, people have been stretching 30 seconds each side, stretching their hamstrings, hoping that they'll prevent knee injuries and such. Now there is a tremendous amount of anecdotal evidence, and I'm hoping that I'll get a lot of that in the comment section down below, and people saying, well, stretching helped me. Well, that's great that stretching helped you, but the thing is, there just hasn't been any research on a large scale to say that for someone who does not stretch or someone who's trying to prevent injuries will do that. Now there is one caveat, and that is that if there's an imbalance between right and left side, there is some research to support that that is a predictor of injury. So in other words, if your hamstrings on your left are real loose and your hamstrings on your right are real tight, that is a good predictor of injury rates. But the million-dollar question is, why is that right hamstring so tight? Most of the time, it's not because the actual hamstring is tight, it's because there's a sciatic condition that's causing neurologically that muscle to be tight. But regardless of that, the point is that if your muscles are of equal length on both sides, stretching is unlikely to help you prevent injury. Now, why is it that I'm saying that stretching does not work? Why is passive stretching not working? And how dare I say this, especially on YouTube? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Here's the number one reason. Stretching has more to do with your neurology than it does have to do with the actual heat and pliability of your tissue. In other words, your brain is the one that controls your flexibility, not the actual muscles themselves. I'm going to give you an example. If I were to try to stretch my finger and I were to pull my finger back, I can pull my finger back pretty far. But as soon as I start to stretch, there are neurological pieces of material called Golgi tendon organs, where the muscle actually connects to the tendon and then senses a certain amount of stretch. When I stretch my body and I stretch my finger backwards like that, those impulses from the Golgi tendon organs go up into a spinal nerve, up my spinal cord, into my brain, and my brain is going to sense now that there's too much stretch on that tissue. When it does that, my brain is going to try to protect myself by tightening the muscle structures of the muscles that the very ones I'm trying to stretch. So in other words, when you actually stretch, the Golgi tendon organs are stimulated and your brain will actually tighten up the muscle that is trying to be stretched in the first place. That's a neurological fact. So the problem is when you're trying to do passive stretching for 30 seconds at a time, it simply is not enough time to turn off the Golgi tendon organs. This is why you could stretch each muscle for 30 seconds passively every single day, and after 10 years, you will not be any more flexible than before. So what does work when it comes to flexibility training? Something called isometric contractions on both ends of the muscle you're trying to stretch. So in other words, My finger is not meant to be stretched back this far. I have no muscular control to do that. But if I wanted more flexibility, even because of maybe of an injury, the way to actually do it is to understand that stretching is more of a neurological activity than it is just a piece of meat being stretched. So what we do in this particular case is we would take the finger to the end range of motion, and then I would actually try to curl the finger in this direction using muscular force on this side. Then I would try to use muscular force on the opposite side, trying to stretch that. There is research to support that the brain will not allow a range of motion to occur unless it's considered safe neurologically. So in the example of a hamstring is loose on one side and a hamstring is tight on the other, the reason why is because there might be a neurological irritation, and thus the hamstring tightness is actually a protective mechanism. So as long as the nerve is not being pinched anymore, the brain then learns that this is how it wants to be in terms of tightness in the hamstring. So what you would do is you would do isometric contractions of the hamstring at its end range of motion. Then what you would do is you would actually contract the quadriceps, and by contracting the quadriceps, neurologically you're shutting the hamstring off. I'm going to make another link of how to best stretch the hamstrings. I'm going to put that link down below so you can watch this. But this will explain why passive stretching simply does not work. If you thought this video was interesting, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments section below. If you have any questions or concerns about this video, let me know in the comments section and I'll try to get to them. Thanks for watching.